Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And I have here an article. This came out today, actually, not too long ago. And in this article, it is basically going into how Iran has basically instructed the Houthis to, the headline says it all, right? Iran tells Houthis to close Red Sea energy choke point if Trump bombs power grid. And the reason is because Trump threatened. This wouldn't be the first time he threatened that, but apparently threatened, to start actually attacking infrastructure in Iran if they don't get back to the table and negotiate, which they're saying they're not interested in doing that. Now, we'll see if he actually goes through with his threats this time, or if he backs out again like before. But time will tell, right? So let's read a little bit of this here because this is pretty interesting, and it will have some major impacts should this go the way it looks like it's going to go. Simply because that now you're closing off two major energy choke points, as it says, and that's going to cause major pain. And I'll show you why as we keep on reading when the actual image of the map shows up, and you can sort of get a good visual of what this looks like here. So it says here, Yemen's Houthis have long warned of their ability to close the Red Sea oil route, but have by and large stayed on the sidelines of the expanding Gulf regional conflict, which is focused on Iran since Operation Epic Fury began. Things began changing dramatically this month, however, after Saudi warplane incursions into Yemen, which bombed Sana'a International Airport on July 13th. This was in an effort to prevent an Iranian commercial jet from landing there. Interesting. So it says here, the Houthis responded by sending missile and drones on Saudi Arabian air bases and infrastructure, and so on and so forth. Now let's get to the actual interesting part here. Houthi rhetoric is growing related to the U.S.-Israel war on Iran. Interesting. This is what they said. The leader of Yemen's Houthi movement has denounced U.S. and Israeli collaboration as the source of the problems in the Middle East. In a televised address, Abdel Malik al-Houthi also blamed Saudi leaders for advancing U.S. and Israeli objectives in the region. The United States, quote unquote, and Israel are the source of evil and instability in the world, al-Houthi said. Now, why would he say something like that? Because the world can see it. You know, if you look at the things that the track record of the U.S. and Israel, you'll come to probably a similar conclusion. Now it says here, in a rare moment of the now long-running conflict on Thursday, reports have emerged that Tehran is actively requesting that the Houthis join the war in the scenario that Washington begins attacking Iran's power infrastructure. This is after President Trump told Fox News on Tuesday evening that next week, which would be at the end of this week, the one that's coming right after, it gets really bad for them because next week comes the power plants. Now, there's talk that Trump is going to either assign some executive order today or make some announcement later today being Thursday. So we'll see if what happens there. But this is interesting should he go through with this, because this is going to really escalate things very quickly, but also very intensely. And like we keep telling you that, as it's written in Habakkuk, I'll just quote it, right? Habakkuk 2 and 3, that though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Now, what is that it? The visions, the prophecies. And when something tarries, it's like it's taking time, right? So, or what you will feel like longer than expected. But the scriptures say, wait for it, because when it makes its way here, it's not going to tarry. It's not going to drag its feet, and it's not going to take its time. It's going to be like boom, 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 one after another, after another, after another. Okay. So now what we're seeing here is with, like I said, it'll be a major escalation because what it's also doing is if the Houthis join the war, now you have another escalation of this regional conflict, and then it just starts to become easier and more likely that other nations will join in because remember, France and a few other European nations were forming a coalition, as they said, to go and open the strait. This was after they had refused Trump's offer to join in opening it, and they said they were going to basically do their own thing and go and open it themselves. Why were they going to do that? Because they were being affected. So how much more do you think they'll be affected now, being that the strait is still under the conflict, and now the other energy entrance out of that region is now going to be closed, should this be the case? So this would be even more reason, because very quickly the world will start to feel more effects, because the effects that were triggered based on the conflict that started back in ending of February, they're still ongoing. And then you add this on top of that, so it's going to be very tumultuous. Let's go down a bit. It says next week, quote unquote, next week comes the bridges. We're going to knock out all their power plants. We're going to knock out all their bridges unless they get to the table and negotiate, he warned. So if Iran is taking measures to handle a situation like this, it doesn't sound like they want to come to the table, right? If you're telling somebody, hey, if they go this route, you do this, right? If they wanted to come to the table, then they wouldn't set such precautions. But as always, we'll see. But according to Reuters, Iran still has another escalatory card of its own to play. Iran has asked Yemen Houthi rebels to stand ready to close the Red Sea oil route if the United States strikes Iranian power infrastructure. 3 sources told Reuters on Thursday. The idea has been discussed within the Islamic Republic's leadership, and the message has been conveyed to Iran's Houthi allies. 2 senior Iranian sources and a regional source familiar with the matter said. Okay, let's see what else we got on here. So this is the image here, right? Let me actually read this last part. It says, it's long been reported that the Houthis have indeed been making preparations to attack shipping by deploying missiles and drones near Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which is the crucial entry point to the Red Sea. So if you see where, in this picture right here, on the top right, you have Strait of Hormuz. And then on the bottom left, you have Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And so these 2 entrances right here, the reason the Strait of Hormuz is such a big problem is because now if they're attacking ships, nothing is going in or leaving, right? So imagine if you're like Saudi Arabia, which you're, based on what we're seeing on the map here, it's kind of in the middle, right, in the center. So it might be a little more difficult, but it's still possible to try and reroute the other way through the Red Sea instead of going through the Persian Gulf. But if they block and they start, stopping any passages through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, now you have a big problem on your hands, okay? Because UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, they're not getting shit out of this area because now both areas are blocked, and then people are going to start. That's going to send ripple effects very quickly. This could obviously greatly exacerbate the global energy crisis and would likely set off a new round of regional escalation, which might also see Houthi missiles once again targeting southern Israel, but also Saudi Arabia and the GCC allies. So let's see what ends up happening, right? As we speak, they're saying that the U.S. is continuing to bomb Iran over and over and over again. But we know that this is all tying back to prophecy anyway, right? As we've said, and we stand by, because that's the word of the Lord. And as is written in Isaiah 55, and I believe on 8 on down, the word of the Lord does not come back to him void, right? It accomplishes everything that he sets it out to do. So the prophecy of World War III, the gathering of the nations, the Lord pleading with them in the valley of Jehoshaphat, okay, and bringing down judgment upon them, that's a part of his word. That's the sentence he has sent out, and is going to happen according as it has been written. Whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, that doesn't change the fact that this is what's going to happen. So best get prepared, because the Lord is shifting things into a new gear, and hey, it's going to be independent of how you feel about it. You either prepared or you're not. You're either ready to go or you're not. And if you're not, you're the one getting affected. The Lord is not going to be affected if you are not ready. The judgment is not coming for him. It's coming from him. So with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying and informative to the elect. As you can see, we're getting closer and closer, and the Lord is really stirring things up. So that means that you got to, as the Lord told, the angel told Ezra, put away from the mortal thoughts and set thine house in order. Because, as the saying in the world goes, buckle up. Yeah, that's where we at. That's where we at with it. So in closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Bracha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.